Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. This is our regular pitching preview show that we do with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Right now, we're going to take a look at the pitching assignments for Tuesday, April 28th. Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. How's baseball season going for you so far?
Fantastic, Peter, from SBR Videos. 90 and 81, 78 underdog winners. 26 of those winners $1.30 or more. Not too bad, baby.
Wow, so you're killing it then. But I have noticed that underdogs have been winning so far this year. If that switches around, are you going to go into a little bit of a cold spell?
No, we have angles that make adjustments. So cold spells in Major League Baseball are uncommon for me. Actually, cold spells in just about any sport. So no, we pick underdogs when they are the proper play, and we'll pick favorites when they're the proper play.
All right, sounds awesome, Joe Duffy. Well, let's take a look at these Tuesday pitching matchups. Maybe betting on Trevor Bauer until further notice might be the proper play every time he's out. He missed his last start because of food poisoning illness, so that's not too serious. And he should be back here, probably in full strength. And, you know, he's a guy who, even though he has a lot of hype surrounding him, people know about him, might also still be a little bit undervalued. Casey, obviously a good team, but Guthrie on the other side. That might be a pitching matchup where, you know, we get a big edge in starting pitching. Maybe Cleveland might be a good bet in that one, depending on the line. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, pitchers don't like to really be thrown off of the rhythm, but I wouldn't worry about that too much. And Jeremy Guthrie, he certainly struggled against Cleveland. He's 5-5 with a 6.06 ERA, and at Progressive Field, he's been even worse, where he's 2-4. So I would have to agree with you there. No argument.
Okay, and then Tanner Roark back in the starting rotation for Washington. Last year, he was a guy who pitched very well and was a guy who was a good bet many of his starts, and he's started the year in the bullpen. And on the other side is going to be Teheran for Atlanta, also a guy with a lot of potential and big hype. He can be great at any time, but he has been struggling with his control, has not been that good so far on the year. You know, Washington might be now starting to get a little bit healthier on the rise, and with Tanner Roark starting on the road, that might be a spot where we might want to look to bet on Washington. What do you think, Joe?
Certainly, if it's 100% certain that Scherzer is going to be scratched, I know there was a good possibility. Maybe you've got better information that he's definitely not going to pitch. But yeah, Teheran has pitched so-so, and it's not like the Braves have fantastic bats. But, you know, again, Washington's been a team, it's very tough to get value on them. But then again, if you're not with one of their stud pitchers, this is probably the situation where you're going to get some pretty good value.
And then Ross Detweiler, we've discussed him before. We talked about him in the last game. He was supposed to start. He didn't wind up starting that game. He's scheduled, though, to start at home in Texas on Tuesday against Seattle. Seattle's got a decent lineup with some good pop in it this year. That's probably going to get a boost going on the road. Is Detweiler due to get crushed here, and maybe Seattle on at least the team total over might be a great bet?
It's another one of those where Detweiler is going to be pitching on long rest, and a lot of guys don't really like to do that. But, you know, when you're kind of a journeyman pitcher, when you're not at the top of the rotation, you frankly got to get used to it. And Seattle, look, J.A. Happ, talk about a guy that just keeps sticking around the major leagues, and he's pitching pretty well so far. He's got a 2.61 ERA, 1.06 WHIP. So this might be a case where both of the pitchers are in decent situations because, like I said, a guy like Detweiler, he's got to really adjust to not pitching, you know, on the normal 4 days off. So this might actually be a low-scoring game.
Okay, and then Michael Wacha on the mound, having an awesome start to the year at home against Philadelphia. Very weak lineup there. You know, this reminds me a little bit of the recent Felix Hernandez game at home against Minnesota. I asked you, you know, maybe Minnesota on their team total under, even though it will be 3 minus 130, wound up being 3 minus 170. But he pitched a shutout, didn't even come close. We might see something similar here. You know, Philadelphia, their team total might be 3 minus 150 or something. But given how awesome Wacha is and how not much Philly brings to the table in terms of offense, do we expect, you know, 7 or 8 innings of shutout ball from here from Wacha?
It would seem like it. What I'd be most worried about is a little bit of a letdown situation because remember, Wacha he was matched up against Johnny Cueto and Max Scherzer. Now he's obviously got the big pitching matchup here, big pitching advantage. But all in all, he has pitched extremely well, and you got a very good pitcher going against suspect bats. So pretty good situation for Wacha, but again, he's going to be laying some big lumber.
All right, and then let's talk about Johnny Cueto, right? Last game was a good one, but he is off of 125 pitches. That was a high pitch count, big game. Now he's coming back at home. He's going up against Milwaukee. We know the deal in Milwaukee, right? They've been terrible so far this year, but we all know they're going to bounce back at some point. When's that going to happen? We don't really know, but maybe this could be a situation where people see Cueto starting at home and Milwaukee being terrible, and maybe we'll get a very inflated line here. Maybe this might be a spot to try to time a fade of Cueto and a bet on Milwaukee. What do you think?
You do expect that Milwaukee is going to play a little bit better. Kyle Loesch, though, hasn't been very good. He's been part of the problem, although he's actually coming off of probably his best effort of the year. So, with Milwaukee really underachieving, maybe this would be a pretty good situation with Loesch coming off of a fairly decent effort. Maybe look for him to regress to the mean and start pitching a little bit better. So this might be a chance for Milwaukee to pull off the upset.
And then we have the rematch between Jared Weaver and Sonny Gray. And in their first matchup last week, I said I suspected that Oakland might be a good bet in that one, and that did turn out to be the case, depending on how you bet it. And here they are, rematch, and now Oakland's going to be at home. And, sometimes you expect the opposite to happen when two teams play each other or two pitchers square off back to back. Here, though, Weaver kind of has diminished velocity, diminished stuff. Sonny Gray looking very good. The Angels aren't really hitting that well. They do have some pop, but their batting average is way down. Do we expect Sonny Gray to once again outpitch Jared Weaver?
Weaver didn't have all that much run support. He's pitched okay in his last two, but I think I said it the last time we spoke about him. He's probably Jared Weaver more in name only. He's not quite the pitcher that he used to be. And Sonny Gray, obviously a young stud. He's been tremendous. He's given up one earned run or less in 3 of his 4 starts. Pitching at home, probably a very good spot for him. And like I said, Weaver, okay, he's maybe pitching a little bit better, but there's no question that the home team has the pitching matchup advantage here.
All right, so to sum up, I'm going to be looking towards maybe betting on Cleveland with Bauer, maybe betting on Washington with Tanner Roark, maybe thinking about Johnny Cueto getting hit a little bit, maybe thinking about Detweiler getting absolutely crushed against Seattle, thinking about Michael Wacha probably going to have an awesome start, so that means either bet on Philadelphia team total under, or maybe St. Louis on the run line, or just on the money line, and a bet on Sonny Gray to outpitch Jared Weaver once again. That's all I wanted to get to make sure we got to for Tuesday. What else do you want to bring to our attention, Joe Duffy?
Well, people love to go with good pitchers, and usually the value, and we've documented this many times, isn't necessarily going with great pitchers. But Jeff Samardzija, he's back on track. After switching uniforms, he got off to a little bit of a slow start, but he's allowed 1 run in his last 19 innings pitched. We know he's a stud. Jake Odorizzi is 2-2 to the Yankees, but his ERA is 5.82 at Yankee Stadium. He's really struggled at Yankee Stadium, and at Pittsburgh, they've won all of Locke's starts. So Pittsburgh might be a pretty good play there, and that would be about it.
So you're saying that you might look to fade Odorizzi actually in the Yankees game?
He has not pitched well at Yankee Stadium, and so far the Yankees have been a pleasant surprise. I guess both of the New York teams have been a pleasant surprise so far, so it might be a pretty good spot to fade Odorizzi.
I kind of like that Samardzija pick as well. Chris Tillman on the other side. His velocity is fine, but his strikeout and walk and home run numbers are all awful, and it's not clear when he's going to be able to fix that. All right, Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Thanks so much.